Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Shannon and Ashley. I'm glad you guys made it for the presentation. We're going to discuss feral hogs distribution and impacts today. This is me. My name is Corey Standing Lucero. I'm a fish and wildlife biologist with the Society, a member of the Second Fox Nation, a graduate of Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. My job began with the U.S. Forest Service as a co-op student on the Coconino National Forest in Happy Jack, Arizona. I've been a field biologist with BIA, Southern Pueblos Agency in Albuquerque. I worked for the Society the first time between 2003 and 2011, I believe, as the Southwest Chronic Wasting Disease Biologist. I've also been a field biologist with SWCA Environmental Consultants and ICF International Environmental Consultants as an environmental compliance monitor out of Sacramento, California. And now I'm one of two fish and wildlife biologists. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I don't have to go through the list. Probably Shannon knows me pretty well. But so I'm the other fish and wildlife biologist for the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society. Good, Corey.
This is a presentation overview of what we'll talk about today. First, I'll give you a background. Then we'll look at some distribution maps of how their populations are expanding. We'll talk about some agricultural damage, property damage, damage to natural resources, their reproduction. We'll discuss teeth and tushes and what they do to people or animals when they get attacked by a feral hog. Then we'll discuss a few disease vectors and ask the question, can they really be eradicated? Feral swine are the same species, Sus scrofa, as pigs that are found on farms. Feral swine are descendants of escaped or released pigs. Feral swine are called by many names, including wild boar, wild hogs, razorback, piney woods rooter, and Russian or Eurasian boar. No matter the name, they are a dangerous, destructive, and invasive species. The history of feral swine is that they were first brought to the United States in the 1500s by early explorers and settlers as a source of food. Repeated introductions occurred thereafter. The geographic range of this destructive species is rapidly expanding, and its populations are increasing across the nation. Here is a series of 6 maps started from 1982 in the top left corner down to 2000, I think it was 15. But as you can see by looking at the maps, the expanding populations of feral pigs is continuing. Now we'll talk about some agricultural damage. Feral swine damage crops by consuming them or by their rooting and trampling and wallowing behaviors. Field crops commonly targeted by feral swine include sugarcane, corn, grains, sorghum, soybeans, wheat, oats, peanuts, and rice. However, they will eat most any crop. Farmers may also experience damage to vegetable and fruit crops, such as lettuce, spinach, melons, and pumpkins. They cause damage to pasture grasses, killing desired plant species, and often encouraging the growth of undesired weed species. Feral swine will turn over sod and pasture by rooting to expose the tender shoots of plants, insects, and invertebrates, which ultimately destroys the pasture. The ruts and rises this behavior creates can make it challenging, even impossible, for a farmer to drive a tractor over the field to harvest any hay that's left. Feral swine can transmit pathogens to livestock, which may result in financial losses to livestock producers due to lower productivity, veterinary costs, or even mortality. They are also capable of killing young calves and lambs and vulnerable adults during the birthing process. Feral swine may also eat or contaminate livestock feed, any mineral supplements, and or water resources. They also devastate orchards and vineyards by consuming the fruit, berries, citrus, grapes, and nuts. Feral swine can destroy saplings and vines by roughly rubbing on the plants with their bodies, which they do to remove parasites from their skin. And they can also damage large trees by scraping the bark off with their tusks to mark their territory, creating an entry point for diseases on the trees. The rooting can severely damage or even kill saplings, shrubs, and vines directly or by facilitating the spread of soil-based fungal diseases. Feral swine can also break irrigation lines, rip or tear the nets, trellises, drying racks, and other specialized structures and equipment associated with orchards and vineyards. This is their property damage. Feral swine can destroy lawns, gardens, any ornamental plantings, and trees through rooting. They can also damage landscaping fences and other structures, reducing the aesthetic property value. Feral swine can cause also considerable damage when involved in vehicle collisions, such as with cars, motorcycles, and yes, aircraft. Natural resources. With their rooting and wallowing activity, they increase erosion, especially along waterways and in wetlands. Rooting and trampling can limit water infiltration and nutrient cycling. Large groups of feral swine can deposit significant amounts of fecal material in concentrated areas, contaminating water sources, resulting in increased disease risk for humans, wildlife, and livestock. Feral swine also aid in the spread of invasive species of plants. Many invasive plants prefer areas of recent disturbance, such as wallows or rooted areas, and feral swine can spread seeds on their fur or within their feces. They compete with native wildlife for multiple resources, specifically food, habitat, and water. Feral swine diets overlap with those of native wildlife, such as bear, deer, and turkey, which results in competition for important and limited natural food supplies. They also prey directly on the nest, eggs, and young of native ground nesting squirrels and reptiles, including threatened or endangered species. Game birds such as wild turkeys, grouse, and quail can also be impacted. Feral swine have even been documented killing and eating deer fawns, as you can see from the picture on the left, and actively hunting small mammals, frogs, lizards, and snakes. Next, we'll discuss their reproduction rate. Female wild hogs weigh around 150 pounds, generally social, occurring in groups called sounders. They're sexually mature at the age of 6 months old. They usually have 2 litters per year, with around 4 piglets per litter. Their gestation is 115 days, and they can double their population within a year. In vernacular or slang jargon, the teeth of wild hogs are also called tushes. Similarly, the lower tusk, especially in boars, are locally called cutters, because these teeth tend to be very sharp and at the tips, and as such are used by the animal for cutting a rival, prey, or predator. Feral hogs of both sexes are born with their deciduous canine teeth, or milk teeth, baby teeth. These consist of 2 upper and 2 lower teeth, which are small, needle, sharp, conical structures. These are lost or shed when the permanent tusks erupt at around 7 to 13 months of age. Are they aggressive? Wild pigs can be very aggressive, especially when they encounter hunters or hikers. When they get too close, they'll charge very fast. I believe the speed at which they run is around 11 miles per hour. They make contact with a hunter or hiker. They'll often bite hard with their razor sharp teeth. In this damage, you can see to somebody's leg that got too close. Feral hogs can carry and transmit several diseases to wildlife and our humans. 3 diseases that cause the most concern are swine brucellosis, pseudorabies, and tularemia, although feral hogs harbor other diseases and parasites as well. I think the count is actually around 37. Some feral hog management. They have few natural predators besides the gator that you see on the right side. Shooting or hunting is a popular method of controlling feral hog populations. However, recreational hunting alone is not an effective control method. Traps and trapping. Live trapping and euthanizing feral hogs is an effective method for removing large numbers of hogs. Trapping requires developing a strategy and persistence to be successful. The steps for effective feral hog trapping are as follows. Pre-baiting at multiple sites to locate any feral hogs on trail cameras. Once you know how many you have, baiting and drawing them into a location that's suitable for trap placement. I believe Mitzi Reed from Mississippi Choctaws had said that they try to only get their target species and they leave the tops open in the traps so that they don't catch anything like deer. The building and setting up a trap suitable for capturing the number and size of feral hogs that you see on your trail cameras. Feral hogs are smart. If everything goes right, this will begin to happen. You can see a sow bringing in her piglets. If you're not, better luck next time. The top picture is of a hog that had been trapped but figured out how to get out. The bottom picture shows hogs when they just go straight through a fence. Do you have any questions, Shannon or Ashley?
No questions so far. I know I was looking at your maps, and one of the reasons I was on the presentation is because we've got them knocking on our door from Canada, so I'm kind of interested in.
Yes, in Canada it's the same situation. They were brought in for that reason, food. And they were either escaping or people just let them go. Yeah.
They seem like they're a pretty tough one to manage.
Oh yeah. I mean, in Canada, they didn't really think that they were going to spread the way they are now, mostly because they didn't think that wild hogs could survive, the Canadian winters. And for that matter, Montana winters.
Yeah, no doubt.
But they've adapted. They draw all types of they pull down a lot of crops or even just tall weeds and make, in Canada they're called pigloos, because they just push everything down and then they just burrow into the piles. Ashley?
I don't think I have any questions. I wonder, do they have like good meat? I don't know.
Yes, actually. When Mississippi Choctaws had the national conference several years back, because every tribe that has it, they usually have a traditional feast. And the morning of, they invited hunters to go out to go hog hunting, and that's what we had that evening, and it was good. I think they buried them in the ground. Yeah, I mean, several people have always said that it's just the way you cook it.
I'm surprised that there's not that hunters, I guess, have a smaller number in,
Yeah, I mean, because they have recreational hunting, and most states do not even have regulations for feral hogs. It's like if you
What?
see one, you can shoot them. We don't care.
Okay.
Mitzi said yesterday, I mean, she showed me her presentation and hers was geared more to cultural plants and that type, but she gave the fines, you know, for the state of Mississippi of releasing any hogs
Mm.
or, you know, trafficking hogs, saying, oh, I'm going to take this to my side of the state. There are some stiff fines in Mississippi.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because they don't want any more spread.
Hmm.
Okay, well, there are no other questions. Thank you both for showing up to see the presentation.
Mm. I learned a lot.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Great.
I was hoping to get in yesterday's presentation, but I couldn't. I was hoping to get into yesterday's presentation, but I couldn't. Sound like it was kind of a mess anyway. So this one went smooth. Thank you.
All right, great.